As we sit back and reminisce on why it is that we exist, hearing voices and making choices of everlasting consequence, does it all make sense? Must I? Into disaster, can I make adjustments in the hereafter? Or do I realize the consequences of compromise and strive to rise higher, acquire more fire, and just into the truth of a God-created youth? Or should I say a truth seeker, a havoc wreaker on ignorance of purpose, eschewing the circus? Why not just deeper and deeper into the righteous agenda, avoiding the domain of the offender, living according to principles long tried and tested, despite disturbed voices of the mentally molested? Why not just into a magnanimous existence of another kingdom despite resistance? Because young or old, the prophecies foretold that it would be like this: two kingdoms, two choices, the persistent sound of two voices, one offering temporary pleasure and permanent pain with that shrinking feeling of being left out in the rain, the other offering temporary pain but permanent pleasure if we could only see beyond now into forever. Forever is more real than the contemporary, actually governing the affairs of the contemporary. Despite the fight proliferating day and night for your soul and mind, reality of reality is that we would all be fine if we could just into a godlike existence, young or old, it makes no difference, because truth is irrelevant of age, but truth alone can turn the page, a beginning of end of paper and pen, of life, future, and everlasting. So before you get irate, forget the debate and just... Thank you very much. You may be seated. Today I want to talk to you on something called 8 essential life lessons. I've learned some things over the course of my life, and I believe these things apply to everybody. And in the world that we live in today, things are getting crazier and crazier. I mean, it's almost impossible to recognize God's creation anymore because we are doing so many stupid things. I've learned some things over the course of my life, and I believe these things apply to everybody. And in the world that we live in today, things are getting crazier and crazier. I mean, it's almost impossible to recognize God's creation anymore because we are doing so many stupid things. I'm probably one of the most unlikely persons to probably ever speak at an ORU chapel. Let me tell you why. And this goes to our first principle. It's not where you are born, it's what's born in you. Let me tell you why I say that. You see, I was born into a middle-class family. My father owned 3 grocery stores. At one point in time, he owned a boat and he owned a plane. But at the age of 12, I started smoking marijuana. By the age of 13, I became a drug dealer. By the age of 14, I got thrown out of school for assaulting a teacher. By the age of 15, I got thrown out of my own house for assaulting my own father. By the age of 18, I led the police on a high-speed chase. And you know what's interesting about life? My father owned a grocery store, but I was burglarizing people's houses, breaking into cars. You see, where you are born is not so important. I saw a story the other day on CNN where they had 2 brothers living in the same household. One became a pastor and a professor, and the other one is spending his life in prison for murder. You see, it doesn't matter where you are born so much, it's what's born inside of you. If the wrong things are born inside of you, it doesn't matter where you were born. Ask Paris Hilton. You see, we got rich, stupid people, we got poor, stupid people, we got... And sometimes we think the ghetto is only a place. But we have some people living in a spiritual ghetto, a mental ghetto. And you see, let me tell you something about life that I want you to remember. You don't need things to enjoy life. You need life to enjoy things. And no matter how much money you have, if you don't have life, you still can't enjoy the things that you have. So it really doesn't matter. Lesson number 1 is this. It's not where you are born, it's what's born inside of you. Everybody say that with me one time. Say, it's not where you are born, it's what's born on the inside of you. Principle number 2, association affects your destination. Now, let me tell you a little bit about that. You see, when I was growing up, I remember growing up in church. And even though I was kind of born in church, the church was never born in me. And so my associates were people like Bobo, not this Bobo, another Bobo, Sasquatch, Dirty Red from under the spread. And you see, my destiny was being assigned by the people I was hanging around with. Let me tell you something about friends. Friends are like elevators. They can take you to the top or they can bring you to the bottom. And your associations determine your destination. So Sasquatch, Dirty Red from under the spread. And you see, my destiny was being assigned by the people I was hanging around with. Let me tell you something about friends. Friends are like elevators. They can take you to the top or they can bring you to the bottom. And your associations determine your destination. So you have to be careful who's around you. This scripture that we see on the screen is very important. It says, do not be misled. So many people are being misled today. So many people don't get the picture. It says, bad company corrupts good character. Come back to your senses as you ought and stop sinning. You see, who you hang around with is who you become. You're going to be just like the people you hang around. So if you have 4 friends and 3 already went to prison, you next. And so you need to get away from that group. It's a lesson that I learned. You see, your associations multiply what's on the inside of you. You know, I kept asking myself some questions because, you know, after I graduated from high school, I went to work in a bank. When I went to work in the bank, everybody said, well, you know, Dave is doing better. But you see, I had the same friends. So when I went to work in the bank, instead of doing the bank's work, I was selling cocaine in the bank. I got the bank manager hired, the secretary, everybody. Started defrauding the bank. And then the bank had a copier. I used to copy the money on the copier and then go out at night and buy drugs with the copied money. And only copy it on one side because, you know, when you go to the drug dealer, you fold it up and you pass it to them and then you speed off when you get your drugs. Now, everybody say stupid. I guess I was trying to get myself killed. You see, associations multiply what's on the inside of you. So no matter where I went, because I was around a group who were all going in the same direction, no matter where I went, I still ended up in the same place. And it leads me to a very, very important issue. I want you to remember this. People should qualify to be in your life. You could go to hell by yourself. You could go to prison by yourself. You can be stupid all by yourself. You don't need help. So if somebody is going to enter into your life, they should improve your value. If you call somebody a friend, but they cause you to end up in disadvantaged positions, that's not really a friend. I remember a young lady came to me one time and she was telling me that she had this boyfriend and the boyfriend was pressuring her for sex. And I said, yeah, he was telling you, like, give me some, right? She said, yeah. So I said, here's your reply. Give me some? Let me tell you what. Explain to me your spiritual insight. Tell me your mental, social, and financial destiny. Improve yourself to become a person of value who improves my value, who can qualify for this beautiful body. Show me you know how to treat a lady with respect, because I am a lady. Put a ring on my finger. Provide a place for me to stay. Promise to remain faithful. Then you will not only get some, you'll get the full package. You can smack this and back this, and you'll get the whole thing if you qualify.